Hi everybody, welcome to this SUPboarder video. This video is going to be all about talking you through the JP Australia inflatable board range. Last year we looked at the constructions into the JP Australia inflatable board range. Now really going to be focusing on the boards you can get in those constructions and really help you understand which board will be best for you. If you're looking at getting a paddleboard and especially a JP paddleboard this year, definitely check this full video out on SUPboarder. I will go over the constructions quickly, but for more information, please check out the older video, which the link is up on the screen now. So looking at top end construction, the JP Australia make, you're talking about the Superior Edition 3DS, the SE 3DS. That is the heaviest baseboard, but it's also the stiffest baseboard. It's got the 3DS stringers down the rails. It's got 3 layers of material on the top and bottom of the board, 2 layers of PVC, 1 layer of polyester. Again, that makes the board very, very stiff, very, very strong. The SE 3DS is also finished off with JP's welded seams. That's where there's an extra rail band on top and bottom of the rail itself. In effect, these 3DS boards actually have 4 layers of material over most of the rail, which is a very, very hard wearing rail. The bags you get with the SE 3DS boards are all the top of the range bags, really well padded shoulder straps, really well padded around the back area. They all have wheels. They are very color coordinated with the boards themselves, and they do look like a really well finished off bag that is nice and comfortable to carry with. And also the pumps you get with those boards, they are the top end 2-way Bravo pumps, opposed to the cheaper base boards, which we'll speak about in a minute. Those constructions are available in a wide range of boards, but just remember, the SE 3DS is the board you're looking at if you are wanting the most strength and the most stiffness out of your board. So definitely if you're a heavier base rider, 85 kilos plus, if you can, look towards those base boards. They are going to give you as much performance as possible. Moving down from the SE 3DS, we have the LE 3DS, the light edition. Very similar in finish to the SE 3DS, except instead of having 3 layers of material on the top and bottom, you just have 2. So you have 2 layers of PVC on the top, 2 layers on the bottom. You still have the welded rails band. Still get your 3DS stringer, which is great for the stiffness, great for the durability of the board. The board is obviously a bit lighter because it has less material in the top and bottom. Remember, the 3DS SE is 3 layers of material. These are 2 on the top and bottom, so it's going to bring the weight down a little bit. Therefore, not as stiff, not as well performing, but then if you're not after that super stiffness, definitely the LE 3DS is a good board you could be looking at. The bag is very similar. It hasn't got wheels, still has the padding and the shoulder straps and everything like that, and it looks really smart with the boards as well. The LE 3DS is still going to be a board that a lot of different paddler weights could be looking at, but you're still going to have more stiffness than you would do looking at the LE and the SL. And with those 2 construction types, the LE 3DS and the SE 3DS, a lot of the boards come with the tail rail edge technology, which is where they have a tail that's stuck on the back of the board that helps release the water. We've done tests with these tails in the past, and we do find they release the water better, especially on the thicker base iSUPs and if you're trying to move faster across the water. And you get the same Bravo 2-way pump with that one as well. Looking at the LE board, which is a slightly cheaper price point, very similar to the LE 3DS, except you haven't got the 3DS rails. You are still getting a welded seamed board with an extra layer. You still have the same 2 layers on the top and 2 layers on the bottom. Very similar. They do not come with the tail rail edge. The bag is a little bit more stripped down. You still have the padding. You don't have the wheels on the back, so that you can see where the price point is coming down. Not as stiff as the LE 3DS or obviously the SE 3DS, but it is lighter again compared to those 2 heavier baseboards because there is a little less material along the rails. And then moving down again, we have the SL, which is the super light technology, and it's the lightest board on the market from JP. Still 2 layers of PVC on the top, 2 layers on the bottom. You have not got the welded seams that are on the other 3 boards we've already spoken about. Still got several layers of material on the rails, but they're not as stiff or not as hard wearing as the other 3 boards that we've spoken about. But obviously the weight comes down quite a bit with that as well. The bag is much more stripped down. It's more of a basic bag. They've upped it from last year, which was just a simple carry bag. Now you have shoulder straps on the bag, not much padding going on around the bag really, so you're not going to be wanting to carrying it really long distances, or if you are, you're going to want to put your towel and pad out the bag yourself. The pump you get is still a two-way pump, but it is a more simple base pump, a little push pin button there, which is actually quite nice to operate the pump when you're inflating it. It's going to get the air in the board, but obviously not going to be as easy as the Bravo more top-end pumps. Definitely the SL range of boards is a range of boards maybe if you want to buy into as a first-time paddleboarder. You would like to commit and go into a main brand like JP Australia, where you're getting their backing, you're getting their warranty, you're getting their customer service, but you haven't got the top-end money to go for the LEs and the LE3DS and the SE3DS. So okay, that's a quick rundown of the constructions. Please check out the previous video that we've done on last year's JP Australia's to go in depth with more constructions and the deflection tests. But just remember, when it comes to constructions and buying into paddleboards, if you can buy into a better construction, you're going to get a stiffer base paddleboard, and you're going to get a paddleboard that's going to be able to take more abrasion, especially around the rails, than a lighter base paddleboard. But it is going to be heavier to carry to and from the water because there is more material in there. So maybe if you're a lighter base paddler, you don't actually need to be looking at that top end paddleboard all the time, except it won't be so hard wearing. But now let's talk about the range of boards that JP Australia have made for this year and what sort of type of board you should be looking at for what sort of discipline. The first boards we're going to talk about in the JP Australia range are the all-round air. It's probably the range that a lot of you are going to look at, definitely if you're getting into paddleboarding for the first time or you're wanting a paddleboard just to do it all. It's called the all-round range because you can use it for all-round and all types of paddling. They come in a few different sizes. The biggest board is an 11 foot by 33 at 6 inches, and then they make two 10.6s by 32 below that, except they have those two boards in 6 inches and 5 inches in thickness. Most of the boards are available in many different constructions, so you have different price points to choose from. When it comes to stability, the 11 foot by 33 is going to be the most stable board because it has the most width, really. Length of the board does come into stability, but really it's all around width. If you want a stable board, you're going to be looking for a wide baseboard. The downside to having a wide baseboard is it will be slower to paddle than a narrow baseboard. And also remember, if you're looking at a longer baseboard, you're going to have more glide to a longer baseboard than you would do a shorter baseboard, but that shorter baseboard would turn around much easier. So they've given you three different sizes there. The 11 foot by 33 is going to be the really great board for maybe riders 85, 95 kilos and up getting into the sport as a first time. Really nice square tail to that, so it's going to give you a lot of stability. The overall shape of the board, definitely throughout and up towards the nose, still nice and stable. Being 11 foot long, it's a little bit more length. It's going to glide a little bit better, but remember it's 33 wide, so it's not going to be as fast as the narrow base boards. Moving down from that, you've got the two 10.6s by 32, one at 6 inches, one at 5 inches. Really just think about that. If you're lighter than 80 kilos, you're going to be going and looking at the 5-inch thick board. If you're heavier than 80 kilos, or you're 80 kilos and you're going to want to be carrying maybe the dog on the front, definitely look towards the 6-inch thick board. So that's the easy way to look at that. The thicker you go in a board, the more stiffness you're going to get out of the board at the same pressure. And also remember, again, if you're going to be looking at wanting to get a really stiff board, look at a board at higher level construction, an LE3DS or an SE3DS if you can. So definitely the all-round air is going to be a paddleboard range to get somebody into the sport as a first timer, or have a board to do everything with. Catch some little waves, paddle around the coast, family fun, get your friends out on it, put the dog on it, do a little bit of light touring. You can even put a dry bag under the front bungees as well. But if you want to talk about extra performance and paddling faster, you want to be looking towards the Cruise Air range of boards. 3 boards again, a little bit longer in general than the all-round air. So you're going to have more speed, easier paddling, more glide as you move over the water. And they are narrower again, they are not as wide as the all-round air. 3 boards in those sizes, a 12.6 by 31 at 6 inches, and then there's going to be 2 11.6s by 30, and one at 5 inches and one at 6 inches. Very similar to the all-round range of boards in the way that they're setting those boards up. So if you want a stable board, but a little bit more length to it, but still a little bit more width at 31, you're going to be looking at the 12.6 by 31 Cruise Air, and that's available in 6 inches thick. So definitely going to be better for the heavier base riders, 80 kilos and up, or somebody who wants to take extra weight on their board. A little bit more length than the all-round Air, so you're going to find it's a lot easier and faster to paddle. Every time you put your paddle stroke in, you're going to move further for the same amount of effort. Going down in size, you get two 11.6s, so they're a little bit shorter, not going to offer you so much glide, but they're narrower again as well, at 30 wide. So you'd probably say that the 11.6 and the 12.6 will probably paddle about the same, but really the 11.6 will be more maneuverable. So if you're still wanting a board to do a bit of all types of paddling, maybe even catch a few waves, definitely look towards the 11.6. Don't look towards the 12.6, that'll be a little bit too long. They offer that in two thicknesses, the 6-inch and the 5-inch. Remember, if you're going to be 80 kilos and up, or you're going to be carrying more weight on the board, look towards the 6-inch. If you're going to be 80 kilos and down, definitely lighter paddlers, look towards the 5-inch. If you want to go faster, again, you've got to be looking towards the Sports Air style boards. This is where JP Australia changed things around a little bit, because you'll notice with the Sports Air range of boards, you can only get them all in the SE 3DS construction, so the stiffest construction out there. They're all 6 inches thick, except they're different sizes overall. So you get a 14 by 30, you get a 12.6 by 30, a 12.6 by 28, and a 12.6 by 26, all at 6 inches thick. Now the advantage to keeping all of those boards at 6 inches thick, even if you're a lighter base paddler, because they're a little bit longer, you are really aiming to put a lot more power down in your paddle stroke. And as you put the power down your paddle stroke, the board will flex, and that's why they want to keep that board as stiff as possible, and that's why they've kept it at that construction and at that thickness to give you the most performance when you're paddling. The 14-foot by 30 board will offer you the most stability, and it'll offer you a very good amount of glide because it's the longest base board. Definitely if you're a heavier rider, 110, 115 kilos, you want to paddle faster and harder, that's going to be a really good size for you. If you're a little bit lighter, or you want a board that's a little bit more maneuverable, or maybe works a little bit better in chop, because remember, if you have a really long board and it's choppy in open waters and you're moving around a little bit, it can feel like you can feel like you're getting pushed around a little bit. But the shorter base board, the 12.6s, are generally quite nice when it comes to inflatables, using in more open water conditions. Giving you three choices in size there: 30, 28, 26. The narrowest board is obviously going to be the quickest, but it's going to be the least stable. 28 is going to be a really nice compromise for a lot of you out there, and the 30 is going to be the most stable out of those three. Size-wise, I think if you are 80 kilos and down, obviously you can look at all of the boards, but the 26 really is for the 80 kilos and down people. The 28 is going to be a great size from 70 to 90 kilos. And the 30 wide, again, you could be 110, 115 kilos to ride that board. You're going to have to be a little bit more confident and on it with your footwork, because obviously it's a narrower base board, but you're probably already coming from the all-round paddleboard and you want to paddle further, you want to do some touring, you want to do some exploring. And remember, they've got the tail rail edge runner there to release the water to make it as quick as possible when you're paddling. There's another two boards in different colorways altogether, and that is the Venus range of boards. They are both LE, so a light editions range of boards. They come in 11.6 by 30 by 5 inches thick, and a 10.6 by 32 at 5 inches thick. So there they are. They're saying it's more for the lighter base paddlers, maybe the female base paddlers. The graphics are pushing towards that as well. I think the graphics do look really nice on that, and they are 5 inches thick, so they're going to perform much better for riders 80 kilos and down. So maybe if you're a female rider or a lighter base rider, those two boards are going to be great and offer you a good amount of performance. And being the LE construction, it's going to be nice and easy and light to carry down to the water. Not the stiffest board on the market, but then because you are going to be sub 80 kilos and down, you won't need that extra stiffness. Moving on to slightly more specialist boards, first off looking at the Surf Air, we tested the JP Surf Air a few years ago now. It was really good surfing iSUP in the past. It had a good amount of rocker to it, had a nice pulled in tail shape, so it really did turn well on the face. We are about to put that into a little mini SUPboarder pro test where we're going to be speaking about that board compared to the other iSUP surfboards that we've used already, so look out for that if you're interested in surfing iSUPs. But again, that board, really nice. That is the only board that actually is an SE 3DS construction, but it's in a slightly different graphic. So that is an SE 3DS construction in the Surf Air. Very stiff, and it's 4 inches thick again. So they've dropped the thickness because they realized that that is to get the best performance on a wave, you're going to have to drop the thickness of the rail, and that really does make a difference, so your board can bite on the wave, opposed to surfing a 6-inch thick board, which you could do, but it wouldn't give you as much performance as a thinner base board like the Surf Air. So that's a really good standout Surf SUP. I think it still will be, because it's the same shape, except it has got the tail rail edge at the back to make it even better again. There's a good range of boards in the windsurf airs. As I said earlier, these are really nice setup. You could still paddle them as an all-round paddle board. You could do a lot with these boards, but you can windsurf them. They've got a central fin under the bottom of the board to help them staying upwind. Great if you've got a family member that wants to get into windsurfing, or you yourself, you want to try give windsurfing a go. It's like a cheaper price point board to get you on the water and do multiple disciplines on. A lot of boards, good sizes, and definitely a few different constructions and price points in there as well. One of the biggest boards that you're going to be using on your own is going to be the Adventure Air board. Now, this is a really fun board. I really like the look of this board. In fact, we've actually bought this board because it looks so much fun. This is the 12.6 by 36. It's a big board, 6 inches thick. It's only available in the SE 3DS construction, so it's relatively heavy but super stiff and super hard wearing. Comes with 5 fins, or potential of 5 fins. You've got 4 little mini plastic fins that are stuck on, and you can use a US central box fin as a bigger fin. You can also windsurf it. It's got a windsurf central fin. So this is the ultimate in multi-sport board. If you're wanting to get into SUP, especially if you're a heavier base person, 130, 135, 140 kilos, this is going to be a really good board to jump on. If you are wanting to get into SUP fishing, this is something I'm keen on too. Definitely taking this SUP fishing is going to be a lot of fun. You could take this windsurfing, which I'm going to be doing with my daughter Izzy. I'll probably be sitting on the front as she's windsurfing, so we can do that. And obviously we can just generally muck about with the boards. There is loads you could do with this board. You could even take it white water paddling, obviously doing it safely with the appropriate equipment, but you can take that central fin off. It's got small little fins at the back there that will work really well in shallow waters. So there is a lot of potential with the bigger Adventure iSUP from JP. Again, it's not the lightest of boards, but it's not designed to be. It's designed to give you as much fun on the water as possible. And if you want to have more fun than that, you probably want to take more friends and family with you, and then you've got the Monster Air SUP from JP as well to look at. So a bit more information about the boards in general. All the boards get inflated with the pressure valve at the front. So unlike a lot of boards, I've got the pressure valve at the back. That means when you inflate it, there's no difference. When you deflate it, you roll it up from the back towards the front. The nice thing about that is it means you roll the fin box inside the board, which means when you put the board in the bag, you never get a fin box or a fin sticking in your back. Yes, it does make rolling up the Adventure Air a little bit more challenging because you've got lots more fins, but again, when it's in the bag, it's nice and comfortable to wear on your back. The deck pads are all really nice with the JP Australias. You do get better kick pads with some of the smaller base boards in the SE 3DS construction. All the boards are fitted off with US box fins, sort of nicely hydrodynamic US boxes as well, a little bit smoother to paddle through the water. Your leashing points are all at the back, and most of the all-round base boards also come with towing eyes under the front as well. Looking at the pros and cons and value for money, well, the pros, I do think the JP Australia last year looked really good, and this year they do look really, really smart. Probably one of the best looking iSUP brands out there, the way they finish it with definitely the 3DS stringers down the rails does look really, really smart, and it is a lot of material in that rail of the board, so that's a big pro. So the look of the boards, I think, all looks really good. JP have always been really good at making good looking inflatable SUPs. Definitely worth a mention, the tail edges that are available on the 3DS boards really does make a difference. We still believe that. Overall performance of the board, especially if you're paddling a little bit further, that's a very nice thing to have. The weights of the boards in general, very nice. Even the thicker SE 3DS board doesn't weigh that much. There's a lot of material on there, and it's lighter than some other boards with the same or less material that we know on the market as well. So the weights are good. A good range of constructions in a good range of sizes. That's really nice. So a lot of people have got lots of different price points you can choose from. Nice that they offer a lot of boards at 5 inches thick. That is a really important thing. A lot of the industry are looking towards making boards having more 5-inch thick boards now, because it does offer a lot more performance for the lighter or mid-weight riders. The surf shape is definitely one of the best iSUP surf shapes on the market, and all the bags again are really well color coordinated to go with the relevant boards. Looking at the cons, well, the biggest con for us, and we didn't speak about it earlier because we usually talk about the environmental awareness and the packaging that these boards come in. That is got to change, JP Australia. That is the biggest con for us. There was a lot of plastic wrapped in these boards around the fins and stuff. I know that they need packing up and protecting when they get rolled up, especially from the factories, but that's got to change. There's too much plastic in these boards, and that's definitely the biggest con for us. Other smaller cons, the bungees could be bigger, so the eyelets could be further apart at the front. Definitely the Sports Air needs some bungees at the back. Just get some more bungees or even some eyelets stuck on the board so we can even buy our own bungee cords to put them on the back. Just give us the option. More bungees. These boards have got some great areas to take more stuff, so it would be great to have more bungee points. The handles look really nice and they're finished off really well. They're not the most comfortable to carry them long distances. The lighter base boards are obviously a little bit easier to carry because they're not so heavy, but the SE3DS and the LE3DS could do with slightly more padded handles, maybe some more neoprene wrapped handles. They look really good and they work really well and they flat down to the board nice and easy, but a little bit more padding around there would be a bit more comfortable. And lastly, they don't come with paddles or leashes. I know a lot of shops that you're going to be buying off will automatically put them in packages for you, so that won't be so much of a problem, but make sure you are going to be getting your paddleboard with a leash, because that is a very important thing to be wearing 90% of the time, unless you're in moving or tidal waters. Looking at the value for money, well, they supply these boards in lots of different constructions, therefore you get loads of different price points. Definitely the SE3DS, which is the top end price point, is up there on the price and compared to some of the other top end brands on the market. I would say it is worth it at that price if you can go for it, especially if you're after a more performance paddleboard or you're a heavier base rider. You get a better bag, you get a really nice setup board, really nice rails, triple layer, it's nice and stiff. It's a little bit heavier than the other boards, so therefore if you're wanting a lighter base board or you're a lighter base paddler, definitely look at the LE3DS or really the LE. I think is really going to be the best option for you. And then obviously the price point comes down. If you're wanting to get a cheaper price point board from a main brand, the SL is the range of boards. Some of those at those price points in certain sizes around the 10.6s are very, very, very competitive. And that is from JP Australia. So they are a really well-known brand. So they have a wide variety of price points, some right up there at the top and some cheaper base price points as well. But just remember, if you can pay more into your board, you're going to get better materials, you're going to get more materials, and you're going to get a stiffer board and a board that's generally going to be more hard wearing than the lighter, cheaper base boards. So there we go. I hope you found that video overview of the JP Australia inflatable range interesting and informative. Whether it's a first time paddleboard at a cheaper price point or a faster cruising board or a Windsup board or even a little mini windsurf rig, JP Australia do have a lot of good quality products there to suit a lot of different people. Definitely check them out at a local store, go and have a demo on them, speak to the local shop, get their opinion. But we hear a lot of good things about JP Australia and they have been making a lot of good products in the past, so they're a good brand to buy into. I hope this video really helped. Any questions or comments, as always, please get them down, but any longer threads, please get them on the SUPboarder comment section, because YouTube does tend to lose older comments. If you've owned these products or got these products in the past, please get them in the comments below, because we love to hear your feedback and how the boards are lasting over years. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on another SUPboarder video real soon.